Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Eljay Johnsen Show. This show airs every single Saturday at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, unless specified otherwise. Make sure to head on over to Twitter and follow me at the Eljay Johnsen for any updates pertaining to the show and guest announcements every Tuesday. And if you have any questions over the week between guest announcements and the airing of the episode, make sure to email me at ljjohnson@gmail.com. Alright, that's all out of the way. Everything's rocking and rolling. The live chat is live, and so are we. So, today I am being joined by a fascinating individual. It's actually kind of a really great story. Let me go ahead and get the synopsis for it, because my next guest's story is pretty spectacular, and you can probably hazard a guess based on the image you see now. It's primarily pertaining his story. He's got to access. He is a computer engineer, and he has to access terminals that you can find throughout the course of his adventure that he'll be able to locate. He is actually from the year 2794. He is a nameless security officer stationed at the UESC. That's confusing. Marathon, which is a spaceship, and it's actually rather impressive. And of course, he actually does have a name, and his name is Justin Marler, otherwise known as Tenebrae
Justin
Invictus.
J. Marler. Come on, man. But yes,
sorry.
Tenebrae Invictus. That's what most people know me by. Envy. Some people, like Meso, go back to 2009 and still call me Mange by my old username. I'm glad you switched off that a while ago.
I can't. But
that's
hey,
good.
Andy, how's it going?
Good. It's going good. How you been, man?
Well, it's gone. It's gone pretty well, getting this rocking and rolling. Just making necessary modifications. See, I had tried very hard to, get that down, but I had to scramble to actually find the synopsis for Marathon.
Well, you tried. I honestly didn't know where you're getting that bio from until you started reading it. I'm like, wow, that's from the video game. Oh, you can't even pronounce UESC right. Every time we do a show.
There we go. Yeah, well,
you and me.
Envy, sometimes we run into some problems.
No, there was that one time you wanted me to come on for your Let's Play that you were doing, and then as soon as we started trying to do the call, it completely flopped, and you're like, yeah, let's do this another time. Yeah, never happened.
Which one was that?
You were playing a game, you just wanted to play a Bionicle game, I think, and then just ask questions during it. I believe.
Oh, yeah, I still want to do that. That was yeah. So I was trying to do a Let's Play with every member of the TTV cast to kind of a sit down, get to know everyone, kind of like what this is, but playing a game. And I tried to do it with X a ton of times, and some error always occurred. And it was just a mess. I could never get it off the ground, but I'm
just
hoping,
a bummer, dude.
Hoping now that I'm back, I can actually get that to work.
The series that never happened because you got fired. Actually, it is kind of funny, though, that we're having the show, that you scheduled me months ago before you're even you had any clue you're even going to be rejoining TTV, and now here we are, just the two cast members doing this show.
Yeah, no, it's crazy because I had approached you about this all the way back in, I want to say December, February-ish.
Probably because my original appearance date was going to be a lot earlier.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I had to do something
a month earlier.
Yeah, no, it was actually supposed to be 2 weeks ago is when I originally had you scheduled.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I had to do some rescheduling. I'm sorry, Envy, but you're here now.
Yeah, unfortunately, but yeah, I'm here.
Wow, okay, I see how it is. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get into things. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell everyone how you got into LEGO, how you got into the community, and what you do.
All right, so let's see how I got into LEGO is it was mostly Bionicle. I would say my ties to Lego are still mostly to Bionicle. I mean, I buy other sets now since Bionicle is not really a thing, but when I was a kid, sometime between 2001 and 2003, um, I was just at a random store and my parents let me buy a toy, and I picked out Galimata, and I thought blue was my favorite color at the time, so that's why I picked her. And then it was like, I don't know how much longer after I realized it was actually a girl. It didn't really phase me playing with it, but I do remember some memories of it just like lying on the side of my house, like not inside the house, but just like in the yard. It would just be like lying out in the yard, and I just like ignored my set.
What the
But I
heck?
think around 2004, there were like book fairs and stuff at my school, and when I went to go find a book to buy, I found the third Bionicle Chronicles book, or maybe it was the second one. Sorry, the second one with the Beware the Bowrock and Bionicle Adventures #1, Mystery Metronui, or whatever. Like those two got me into like the story, and so I was really fascinated with I started really getting into Bionicle. I went online. I was on the Lego message boards for a little bit. I was always going on like RPG topics, and I think there was just one that I thought was super cool called like Bionicle Reloaded or something like that. I would always go on there and like make roleplay posts. And then I got a hold of BZP right around the time I turned 9. And I started trying to copy exactly what I was doing on the message boards, or sorry, the Lego message boards onto BZP. So I started opening up RPG topics on the in the like the wrong sections of BZ Power, like
Oh no.
Bionicle software form. I opened it up
You were a
once. I
noob.
started trying to roleplay. It was bad. I was a pretty I was a troublemaker to some, I would imagine. I remember begging Black Six as a little kid if I could open up an RPG topic, only to be told no more than once. And I think then turned into kind of become a moderator more than once.
Oh
But
my gosh.
yeah, that's how I got my start on BZ Power, trying to do roleplay topics when I was like 9.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Oh
there's a
gosh.
lot
And
of
then eventually you ended up getting into TTV, but that's also a fascinating story because of how you ended up meeting all the different members of TTV, because we all kind of ended up in the same general sphere as each other, and ended up meeting on a chat room that Ven had created called the BZPC, the BZ Power chat room. And how did you get involved in all that?
getting into the BZPC. So I mean, between let's see, when I was a kid, I was also making comics. Little do people realize I was attempting to be in the comic maker scene very early on, like 2005-ish. But fast forward like 4 years later, there was a fad on BZ Power where everybody was changing their usernames to be Vaki, and eventually I became in charge of the fad. I took over, and some of my loyal followers included Meso and Keeney. And around the same time, I was playing World of Warcraft, and I found someone that played World of Warcraft on BZ Power. His name was Tom, and Tom showed me to this website called TTH3. It was another Bionicle forum. I ended up rising from like just posting a ton on there to becoming a mod to becoming an admin. But in February of 2009, a comic maker by the name of Fire Emblem, you may remember him very well, Eljay, he gave me a link to BZPC. And I clicked on BZPC, and guess who was there to greet me with a cold attitude? It was you, buddy.
See, I don't remember that.
You barely let me into the chat because I said I knew Ven, and I did meet Ven in like 2008 in the Linkin Park topic on BZ Power, talking about a random version of crawling, I believe, crawling in my crawl. So you let me in very hesitantly, and I just ended up hanging out on there. And then, sure enough, Meso eventually joined. Keeney eventually joined. Everybody's there. We had a grand time, and I ended up becoming one of the main admins on the chat.
That's probably how I should have answered the door for you at Brick Fair last year. Just be like, "What are you doing here?" Do you know anyone here? "Oh, yeah, I know Ven. Hey, Ven, you know this guy? You met him at a Lincoln Park? But, yeah, no, that's fascinating because, we all kind of sort of knew each other. We were all in the same general areas. Like, you met Ven, you knew Meso and Kini, and you were a comic maker, so you were somewhere in my sphere, because I did comics. But but yeah, so it's fascinating how even though we never directly ended up talking, we all ended up meeting.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like, I still think the World of Warcraft part is pretty crazy that I met Tom, and then Tom showed me to BZ, or like indirectly showed me to BZPC, but then Tom ended up joining TTV for a bit, even
Yeah,
though that's more of the part of TTV's history we don't talk about as much. But
yeah, no, but
that small world of connections on a site of tens of thousands of people.
yeah, like 50,000 some people I think are on BC Power's website, or at least
It was a lot crazier back in the day, but
no, definitely it
something like
was.
that.
Yeah, like they have 51,000, almost 52,000 members, but during that time there was an active member base of like maybe 500ish. I want to say it was very large, very active. But
Yeah.
but yeah, so things are definitely bustling. Um, so let's go ahead and go through this step by step because you have done quite a lot over the years, and we'll have to get through it as carefully as possible. Very
Very, very
carefully, one
carefully.
might say. And we'll go ahead and start with comics. And this is a side of BZ Power that I'm particularly fond of because this is where I kind of started doing things. So comic making on BZ Power. Go ahead and explain what kind of comics you made and how that ended up.
The very first comics I made on BZP in like 2004, 2005 were like almost like fan fictions, more or less a Bionicle. Like I remember one story I made called like Enforcers or something like that, and that was more of a Metro Nui theme with
Mm-hmm.
like the toe and stuff. The ones that I was known for sure in like 2009, 2010, the first one I made was called Failure in Progress. And you can definitely tell I was obsessed with World of Warcraft at the time because I basically made a Bionicle version of World of Warcraft comic where everything was revolving around this guy that joins this Bionicle MMO, and he's a complete noob. And it featured a handful of people from like BZPC and stuff in there, including me, with like awesome like armor and just being like this really cool player versus this noob. It was it appealed to like a handful of people. I could probably count on one hand how many people enjoyed reading that comic because they
Mm-hmm.
all played World of Warcraft. But the second one that I made, the second series I was mostly known for, got pretty rave attention at the very beginning. That one was called One Nation Under the Great Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
That one was funny because I remember, I think it was in March of 2010, I made like this, whatchamacallit, I made like an idea for it, like a little comic idea about this Matoran that gets stopped because he's like smuggling Kanoka in a tunnel, and this Toa stops him, and the Taraga in charge of the cities implemented these rules that have made like Toa code much more strict and allowed them to punish harder. So he ends up killing this Matoran that's smuggling a Kanoka, and I showed it to a comic maker that was very notorious at the time for being an 11-year-old
Mm.
metalhead.
Mm-hmm.
V's on the Paraka. I showed it to him, and he was like, "That's one of the stupidest things I've ever seen." Basically, well, so I didn't touch it again for about maybe 8 months or so, and I just decided I wanted to get back into like comic making again.
Mm-hmm.
So I made a handful of comics, and it seemed like it was actually going to turn out pretty good. I started releasing them on BZP, and dang, man, all the cool comic makers were like coming in and like commenting on like how they liked the very first one, even though there wasn't even anything substantial in the first comic, but felt pretty good to make this story. It's supposed to be, sort of be like a dystopian Bionicle story, and I'm still proud of it, well, to an extent. I do wish I had more time so I could actually rework it. I would kind of make more of a novelization out of it, plus like art to accompany it rather than a comic. But yeah, that's what I was mostly known for when it came to comics, was this WoW comic and then a dystopian Bionicle comic.
Well, I can say from personal experience and for having known you and watched the comic, and I'd get great ridicule for not saying this, but I think that series was incredibly promising.
For those who don't know, Messa would comment on every comic that I put out on that series and say it looked very promising.
Yeah, it's like you'd always get so tired of him. But yeah, no, okay. That's interesting. Yeah, I loved making comics. Comics is definitely something I want to discuss at some point. I might even have Ven from TTV on in order to discuss comics at some point. Okay, so after comics, you moved on to the BZPC. I don't remember talking to you a whole lot until TTV THM, but I just remember you almost consistently being an admin and being very good friends with Ven.
Yeah, I don't know how exact. I think Ven played favorites a lot. He definitely played favorites a lot, especially after I was admin. It was annoying, but I got made moderator pretty early on to BZPC, and I had quite the reputation for being the tough guy, for always like kicking people out of the chat for breaking rules, like even on the slightest stuff. But
we got a tough guy here.
got a tough guy here, huh? Unsheathed twin katanas. But I believe on my birthday, when I finally turned 14, Ven decided to make me an admin, which was a neat birthday present at the time. I think that was the same day Legend Reborn came out, actually, come to think of it.
I think you're right. You keep saying that is the case, and I keep going, what? No way. Let me see.
September 15th, 2009. Mark it, boys.
Yep,
anyways, I got made admin on that day, and then down the road, Meso and some other characters such as Glatorian Jawler, who no one would know now, but an MT, and I believe Star Paru, we all and Keeney. We can't forget Keeney. We all orchestrated this thing where we got fed up with Venom, so we took a screenshot of the chat where we were all impersonating different people, and basically made fun of how Ven just bans people on a whim because he doesn't like them, basically. And we sent it to Ven, and he decided to blow up the chat, completely reset everything. He was the only person who had access to the chat. And for some reason, people looked to me as being I guess I had risen up enough where Ven and I were pretty close in like rank, where people looked to me to start up a new chat. And so we had a second BZPC. And I was at the head of it, and people liked it. It was like a mix of being chill yet strict. Like, I think people didn't like there was a bit more lax on behavior, like you weren't being kicked out for the way you were acting as much, as long as you were like not swearing. But those are the good old days, man.
Oh boy, I forgot about the second chat. I forgot that all happened.
It didn't last too long. I think BZPC 2, when I was the main admin, only lasted a few months before Ven was finally willing to reconcile, because he had like some secret chats he would invite people to hang out on, but he never had like a full-fledged chat. Actually, just kidding. Then he decided he wanted to come back and make a new chat where everybody could hang out on. And so then there's this tug of war between BZPC2 and this one he named BZPC10. And finally, I think it came to an agreement like, hey, let's just start up a chat together where we're both the main admins. And thus, the BZPC was born for I don't know how long, because then it died.
It keeps on coming
within
back,
like
though.
The same year.
Like, every
so often. Every so often we try to push it, and it lasts for like a day. Everybody chats on there for like a day, and then it dies again.
Yeah. I wonder how easy it would be to bring it back, like, at least in a substantial form nowadays.
It's hard to fight Discord. Like, Discord is way better than Zat anyways. I don't think we really need to go back to the past, but it's kind of fun to goof around on there every now and then.
That is fair. Okay, so after that, we got involved doing TTV stuff, and one of the first things that we worked on that you were a part of was TTV THM.
It's so funny. I don't even think I had any affiliation with TTV at the time. I just played well, I mean, I think we had started switching to Skype at the time, and Var and Meso got a hold of Halo Custom Edition, like a cracked version of it, where you didn't need the serial key to play the game. And they were so intent on playing this where they're like, man, Halo Reach is coming out, but we don't even need that. We don't even need Halo 3. We're just going to play it on the computer because we can download these custom maps and everybody's using like the texture packs and the models and stuff. They're all like Halo 3 stuff. We don't need the new Halo. And so we started doing that, and then one day I stumbled upon, I was just going through the lobbies and stuff, and I saw that you guys are playing on a map called Green Screen. And I had no idea what that was, so I went on the custom Halo website, downloaded Green Screen map, joined you guys, and then you guys are like, hey, we're filming a machinima right now. You want to join? I'm like, okay. So I tagged along for that for the second. I believe I was only really in the second episode, and I controlled someone else for the third and fourth ones, but we only got to episode 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and we were working on the fourth one until, development heck. It just didn't come to fruition.
Yeah. It was TTV THM, the Halo TTV, the Halo Machinima was kind of my starting point in getting into TTV. I knew all the guys. I'd guessed it on the shows before, but I'd never like really wanted to delve into podcasts and stuff. It wasn't really my thing. And I didn't have that good of a mic at the time, or ever.
Well, you have a good mic now.
Yeah, now, but not for like most of the history of me being a part of this group.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, I don't know if really anyone did.
That's true. But definitely the power of friendship got me into the TTV channel.
Yeah. And I think that really works for the thumbnail that I have, because it's you and I meeting for the first time in Utah. But
I saw that thumbnail.
Yeah, I just thought, this is good. For anyone unaware, I actually kind of sort of cropped the Var out of it. He's on the other side of me.
Rest in peace, Var.
Maybe I'll have him on too. Anyway, but yeah, no, we did that. And that was fun. I really like how we have a lot of in-jokes and references to TTV-THM, but it's so unknown to everyone. Like, if you asked me, what is your distinctive quote, it is always hands down, "Welcome to the Infinite." But nobody knows what that is. Like, nobody gets that. Or if I said, it's an adventure, it's just, what?
Or the dialogue between you and Van in the spaceship. You know what I'd like to see? See this 2-pronged blade sticking out of you. You know what I'd like to see? A bullet in your head as you fly through space. Lifeless. A lot. With blood. Is that what you want, LJ? A bullet in your head as you fly through space? Like, there's so many like conversations I've like memorized at this point, or like gotten really close to memorizing, because I've seen that so many times, yet I don't even know how many years it's been unlisted now for nobody to be able to see.
Oh yeah, no, it is. It'd be because of the language. Although I'm sure if we slapped a disclaimer on it like we've been doing now,
I think it should use some editing. I believe Var and Meso and I have been in like talks, not with like as a group, but like me to Meso, then Meso to Var sort of thing, been talking about re-releasing it, but we'd definitely probably get rid of some end credit music, which was very inappropriate compared to the dialogue in the show. But TTV fans may one day see what got us started on YouTube in the first place.
Yeah, because those are some of our very first videos, because before we actually ended up going, hardcore into the whole Lego thing, like, we wanted to be kind of like Rooster Teeth, kind of like Red versus Blue, and make a a Halo machinima. But yeah, no, it's fascinating how everything kind of ends up working its way. Because once we started doing that, then like I mentioned, we got into Lego, and then there's BioCraft, and the continuation of TTV, which you joined in actually a little bit later than most. You joined in episode 19.
That was a guest appearance, actually. I wasn't even like officially part of the group yet.
Really?
Yeah, you guys just had me on for some reason. I'm not sure. But I do remember being part of the BioCraft group, and I was originally supposed to, I believe, voice act for a couple characters, or at least audition for them. Like, you wanted me to
Yes.
do some voice roles, but I was frustrating you with delivering them. So eventually you released me from those duties of, oh, holy crap, what the heck is happening?
What is happening?
Did you hear that?
Envy, no. Don't die.
It's app Lego.
No. Not again. I remember. I think it was Copeak. Because, yeah.
Something like that.
That was a very frustrating time because we brought on like a bunch of random people to try and help. And it was just such an awful mess. But,
yeah, I remember being more or less fired from the voice acting part of BioCraft.
That's okay. You didn't miss out.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's all right. I never saw the light of day anyways. There was no one to steal the show from me.
Don't worry. Years later, the metal claw would be on the other foot. He'd fire me from voice acting anything.
Who's in charge now?
Alright, LJ, I'm usurping you in the name order, punk. Even though that I might have accidentally, purposefully called dibs.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, that kind of branches into the next thing that happened. I don't think it's any secret. You're a religious fellow, and while we won't have a conversation about religion or politics, you were gone for 2 years on a missions trip. What was that like, and everything surrounding it?
Yeah, mission. So I was a missionary for my church. I decided to leave the group. It wasn't like, it didn't come down to where I was like, oh man, do I stay for TTV or do I leave? Like, I was pretty dead set for like years. Like, okay, when I'm this age, I'm gonna go be a missionary. It doesn't matter what happens. And it was a good experience, a really good experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything else. Got to meet a lot of people and help them grow their faith in like Jesus Christ and stuff like that, and just help people out and be of service to. I got assigned to be in Arizona, which was interesting because I was living in Thailand at the time. For people of my faith, it's always like when we live in the United States, you're all hyped about hopefully getting assigned somewhere overseas, and then I was living overseas. I ended up having to come back to the United States. But it was awesome. I definitely feel like there were people here I had to meet. Definitely was a fun time and life-changing, to the point where my family moved while I was away to Utah. I came home and I was pretty set on moving back here, so that felt like there were more opportunities to do stuff over here when it comes to like work and going to school and stuff. So yeah, it was awesome, and I think there was a very visible difference in my participation and who I am as a person, like a difference between me then and me now, I would say.
Okay. Yeah, it's been, let me see, you got back...
October of 2016.
Okay, so it's going to be 2 years this year.
Yep.
Wow, so you will have been back for as long as you've been gone. That's crazy. Yeah, no, it was fascinating because, like, when we saw you off, we actually recorded this, like, hour and a half, 2 hour long video. Something like Farewell Tenebrae Invictus.
Yeah, retrospective.
Yeah, it was a retrospective when we chatted and we talked. It was a little bit like this, but a lot longer and more drawn out. And it never came out. I think we released it unlisted on the message boards. But outside of that, nobody saw it.
Yep. So I was thinking earlier, like, man, we've already had like this sort of conversation before. Like, people watched a video like this, like, oh wait, no, they didn't, because it was a secret release.
Yeah.
Nobody has really been able to hear this.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was fascinating to me because when we were sending you off and they're saying like, "Bye, Envy, we're gonna miss you, son," we were thinking, we don't know what's gonna happen in 2 years. 2 years is a long time sitting there going, "Wow, well, in 2 years, 2020, where are we gonna be? What are we gonna be doing?" And TTV exploded in that time. And so instead of coming back to just the shambles of the group with like an arm or a leg right over there and just blood covering the walls, you came back to a busy and bustling TTV. It was very different than
To
what
the
you'd.
end of the busy and bustling TTV.
Wait, sorry, what?
Because what? So I announced I was leaving in May of 2014, and at that time the prospects looked grim of like how the channel was going to be. Like, I remember Mesa was basically going to, like, everybody was theorizing the group was going to be dead by the time I came back in early 2014. And I was like, no man, Mesa, I'll come back, we can do a 2-man group, like, I don't care, I will fight for TTV to live, no matter what. And then Bionicle got announced that summer that it was going to be returning, and so I got to see like the very like barely being teased just as I was leaving. You guys became like super successful while I was away, only for me to hear nearing my time on my mission being complete that Bionicle was canceled again. Not even 2 years later, I come back, and the things that made you guys successful had completely crumbled within a month of me being back.
Wow. Thanks,
So
Envy.
yeah, I got to see like the tail end of it. I guess I was a blessing and then a curse.
What was that like? Real quick, I want to cut in here and say, anyone listening, if you have any questions for Envy, head on over to Twitter, send in your questions, hashtag the Eljay Johnsen Show at the Eljay Johnsen. Go ahead and ask any of your questions, and we'll get to them before the end of the show. Go do that right now. Anyway, so what was that like? Because I know that you didn't have regular access to stuff like a computer or phone outside of roughly once a week, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I mean, we had a phone, but not like a smartphone,
Yeah,
and it was
exactly.
mostly
Yeah.
yeah, I only could email once a week, and that meant not really going and checking out other sites and stuff, just communicating with family and letting them know how we were doing once a week. That was about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I didn't see all too much. Most of what I heard about your guys' success came through Meso's letters. Even though I wasn't supposed to, I did like troll on the boards here and there, but I didn't really understand like how well you guys were really doing until I got back, and it turns out like the subscriber rate had like quadrupled, and then I
Mm-hmm.
found out how much you guys like were making off of it. Like, holy crap, like this is a dream and I missed out on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it was crazy because like yeah, when you left, we were hovering around like what? I want to say less than 10,000 subscribers. I'm fairly
Yes,
certain.
you're about 9,000, and when I got back, it was just about 36,000.
Yeah, that's right. Now we're almost at 50,000 actually.
Yep.
But it was a massive growth. But the thing that I was quite interested in was you keeping up with Bionicle despite being away for the entirety of its run. Like, did you try? Did you manage it at all? I know that you got some of the sets.
Yeah, I mean, I bought a couple sets, actually, like 3 sets total while I was gone. But no, I have been really, I don't know too much of the story other than watching, like, I think I might have seen I mean, like the first wave of like animations and stuff with Meso, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched Journey to One, obviously, and that was a hoot.
It's always an adventure journey to one. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could watch Journey One again.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's oh gosh. Sorry, I just saw one of the questions we got, but I digress.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah. So, all right. So you got back, and it's kind of funny how that your return worked out because Var and I we work the same job, and we were given the opportunity to fly and drive up to Utah for a company kind of get together. And it just so happened to directly coincide with your return, and we were able to actually meet you at an In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah, except
No.
I thought I would be able to contact you on Discord and tell
No.
you when I was going to be there,
No.
only for you to not be able to access Discord on your phone and leave me sitting outside In-N-Out Burger for 40 minutes while you guys were already inside the building, sitting down and eating while I don't even understand how that happened. I like picked a spot where I thought I could spot you, and you picked the one entrance behind me to walk in. Holy cow, dude. Thanks a lot.
I'm
Wasted 40
so
minutes of our time that
sorry.
we could have been hanging out.
I'm sorry. Things didn't get a whole heck of a lot better when you visited us, when you came on over for Brick Fair. No one could pick you up. You had to take an Uber from the airport. I swear, Envy, this year is going to go a lot better.
Yeah, because there's going to be a lot less people and a lot less people making
Stupid
questionable
choices.
decisions.
No, I'm going to call it for what they are. Stupid choices.
All right,
yeah.
you better hope they don't tune in. Don't.
Nah, it's okay. I think they'd agree. I think one of them would agree. I think one of them might kind of be like half and half, and the last one I don't care. But yeah.
Well, I just remember being texted at like midnight on my flight from Ven, like, hey man, I don't think we're going to be able to pick you up. You're going to have to get a taxi ride. I'm like, why? All will be explained. I'm like, thanks, buddy. Thank you.
Well, was it adequately explained?
Yeah, nothing like showing up and like dropping my stuff inside the door once I got there and then having to go take a walk with you guys to hear the whole story.
But it was a fun walk, you know? You were on that airplane ride, stretch your legs because, you're tall and breathe in the Virginia air. But yeah. No, it was a crazy time. And let's go ahead and also touch upon, because it's actually on the screen right now, the Invictus Analysis, which is the main series that you have headed on TTV. Go ahead and explain a little bit about what that is.
The Invictus Analysis. I don't know where to begin with it exactly. So I started the series a month short of 5 years ago, and earlier in 2013, so the year that I started it, I had been introduced to this review series by a guy named Fitz Thistlewitz, and he's an absolute hoot. He likes to review games, but he has a personality where, I mean, like, the channel is about his personality. It's not about him specifically. He's kind of like made up this character, and he makes fun of games more or less through his reviews and makes up like an alternative history to how they came about and like alternative things about going on in his life. And they're completely untrue, and I thought that was absolutely hilarious because he just plays them off as if he's being dead serious.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody had started making a series around that time. Like you had the not Mock Spotlight XD. Then had like eBay. You had your set reviews. I wanted to do something. I first pitched to Meso. I was like, hey, how about like, I'm pretty into music and stuff. How about I do like music stuff? And he's like, nah. But then this came around and like, okay, how about I do like video game reviews, Bionicle Flash games online. And that one flew. So my very first video was almost like a straight ripoff of like two Fitz Thistlewitz videos. Like there's one where he talks about how he's going to let's play Minecraft for the rest of his life, and everybody else that doesn't like that can just go and like bug off. I like took that sort of line directly from that video and like put it into my Hawaii Snowball sling. I'm like, this is the best game ever. If you don't like that, you could just hit the unsubscribe. It was very derivative of him from the start, I would say. And it's kind of over the years evolved into like a different sort of humor. Like it's still an alternative history sort of thing. I make up a different backstory and stuff, but I'm not like completely just adapting his jokes into a Bionicle setting. I'm doing my own thing with them. And it's Invictus Analysis has definitely changed over time, and I'm trying to integrate more of the fake story, alternative story sort of narrative into it that involves more like messing with people in real life
Mm-hmm.
and presenting it as if it really happened.
That, I know some of your plans for that, but I'm looking forward to that especially. Like, that is going to be, I think that's going to be some of your best analysis content, personally speaking. And that's
Yeah,
even considering your Monog Let's Play, which I must say is incredibly a world record for fastest playthrough of Monog is the title you hold.
dude, who you just have to tell Maku that you can't help out with the boat and like the village, then you win the game. I don't know why anybody like didn't think of that, why they'd have to embark on an epic quest when you can just say no.
Yeah, I know, right?
And I
But
can't believe, but you forgot you even helped me out with that video
I
with the
mean,
one line where
yeah, sometimes I do tend to forget videos that I've been in because I think I have been in every single series on the channel except for Reply at this point.
same, bro.
So I'm gonna go ahead and switch the images out. Um, Let me see. Here we go. So on the video, you guys should be seeing a different image, but and I think this one is a particularly funny one. But yeah, so I think the analysis is definitely going to get really, really good very soon. When do you think the next episode is going to come out?
I might be able to make one within the next month. I might be able to finish that one within the next month, but I don't know how often they're going to be coming out. I believe my other series is going to be like a lot easier to make, the impulsive inspections,
Mm-hmm.
which is another one of those like integrating implementing a narrative that appears to have some reality to it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, no, I
but
remember
we'll
that.
see.
I remember when you made that and you kind of showed it to everyone. And I know the circumstances surrounding it, which were really good. But but yeah, no, it's an interesting journey that we've been on.
Definitely. And I'm planning on like still pushing that same sort of humor. Not a lot of people understand it. Uh, Not that it's a Rick and Morty level sort of intelligence required to understand it, but I think there's plenty of like subtle stuff that I say that kind of like goes over people's heads and they take me seriously and think that I'm just like I'm uninformed on different
Mm-hmm.
subjects, but like they don't really realize I'm just like making a joke under my breath more or less.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good point. But, all
But I
right.
plan on making more videos along those lines outside of those two series.
Mm-hmm. Understandable. All right, well, I look forward to them. I don't know all of your plans, but I definitely look forward to them. Let's go ahead and get into some questions. We'll start with our two email questions. And this
Ooh,
first one,
somebody actually bothered.
oh, we have a few people to have. Yes. Excuse me. If you want to send any questions in before we start wrapping up, feel free to head on over to Twitter at the LJ John, at the LJ Johnson, using the hashtag the LJ Johnsen Show. Okay, but first email questions. The first one is from Leo Zander, and he asks, ask Envy why he chose the name Tenebrae Invictus and why he changed it from his earlier name, which I can't spell for the life of me.
Okay. The earlier name, Mangekyo Itachi. I was obsessed with Naruto at the time. End of story with that one. Tenebrae Invictus. So I was playing World of Warcraft, and in World of Warcraft you can form guilds, like different groups of people, like very organized groups of people that you can go on like adventures with and parties and like party up with people and that sort of thing. I saw one called Invictus and I thought that was pretty cool, so I changed my BZPC name, and then my BZP name followed with that because I thought it looked neato. There wasn't like much to the meaning of it that I cared for. I mean, obviously I thought about it, but I thought Invictus sounded pretty cool. Tenebrae, I was also playing World of Warcraft at the time, and I fought this dragon boss called Tenebrae. He's a minor one in a much bigger event and much bigger raid. But I also thought that kind of looked cool, or at least the root of it looked cool, because I was reading stuff on like the World of Warcraft wiki. Wow. And I saw what the root of it was from, and I thought, hey, Tenebrae, that looks cool too. Oh, they're both Latin. Maybe I could like combine them. I mean, I combined them improperly. It's improper Latin, but I think Tenebrae looks better than like. So like Tenebrae is like the feminine way of saying shadow.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it looks cooler, at least like to my eye, than it does like Tenebris or whatever it could be. I don't remember. But I thought the two of them look cool, and they like the meaning. It's like undefeatable shadows, unconquerable shadows, whatever. But
Fair enough.
I don't really think of the meaning behind it at this point. I just like the ring to it.
Yeah, it's a very. It has a good. It rolls off the tongue well. The thing I find fascinating about your name is that nobody abbreviated it, because you have two names in your name. No one, in my experience, that I have ever been present for has ever called you T.I. or Ty.
Because it looks dumb.
They've either always called.
There's some people that call me. Some people call me like Tene when they like don't know me very well, like when they're just trying to like address me in a short form. They'll call me like Tenny. I can only think of like a couple people aside from the very obvious one that have done that. But since I was Invictus first, before I switched to Tenebrae Invictus, a lot of people got used to calling me Envy, and then just being on the show and everybody calling me Envy and that sort of thing, I think helped carry it on to fans that, hey, he shortens the second name, not the first one.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Okay, so our next email question, our last email question, comes from Ulti. Ulti asks, so we know that Envy was a pretty tough guy when he was an admin, and that he cracked Halo CE, and that he impersonated some guys.
You took the time to email this during the show.
Yep, 8 minutes ago. But was he tough enough to get into the salty spittoon? What?
It's from SpongeBob.
Oh.
There's a part where they're trying to enter this bar, and that's what the bouncer says, like, welcome to the salty spittoon, how tough are you? And you're supposed to say something that proves that you're like a really tough guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'd make it in. Haven't tried personally.
I definitely would.
Maybe. I mean, I'm sure they would be shocked. Like, oh my gosh, he was an admin. He cracked down because somebody said a swear word with only one asterisk in it.
Dude, I'd make it in. I'd walk up, it's like, how tough are you? I once stepped on a Lego brick and it cried out in pain. That's actually a really good Mantax fact. You remember those?
Yep.
Okay.
How can I forget?
Good. Okay. So, let's go ahead and move on to Twitter questions. Once again, head on over to Twitter, at the Eljay Johnsen, hashtag the Eljay Johnsen Show. And if not that, we'll open up questions for the live audience on YouTube. So get your questions ready, guys. Alright, so the first one is actually from the Lime Joint Podcast. And they ask, so Envy, when are you making a Bionicle-themed music album played entirely on vacuum cleaners and samples from Bionicle Flash games? Call it, bracket, canon is, bracket, loveless.
Hold on, let me see it. Hector, you're quite the character, man. And I don't know how long it's going to take me. I might try to collaborate with Deb Matoro, since she's the one. I mean, like, I have a vacuum at my house. Maybe I can drive my vacuum over to her place and she can get out her vacuum and then we'll start recording it. I don't know. Maybe you'll have to wait till next April 1st for that to happen. We'll see. Don't try too hard to stay tuned on that, because the vacuum certainly won't be.
Wow. Okay. I don't know how many people are gonna understand that. Okay. So this next one you've already seen, you've already even answered, but I will ask it here. This next one is from Tyler Anderson, and he asks, Mange, when will you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
And to that, I will say, Meso, you already know the answer. I'm never going to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You can't convince me otherwise. You've been trying to push this for like a year and a half now, dude, and it hasn't worked, even in the slightest, so... Yeah, nice try, kiddo.
Okay. I want nothing more right now than for you to end up dating and eventually marrying someone whose only terms and conditions are you have to watch every episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I'm sure I will try to avoid that. Like, that'll probably be one of the first questions when I get to know them. Like, hey, do you like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? You do? Oh, all right. Well, it was nice meeting you. Next.
How could you do that? Okay.
Well, I mean, I just gotta end the problem before it begins. Maybe I will end it.
Okay. Let's go ahead and move on to YouTube. YouTube comments, everyone listening, feel free in the live studio chat. Go ahead and ask any question that comes to mind. I can't guarantee you'll get an answer. This one, though, Timote Best asks, in your missions, how many demons did you slay?
0. I mean, I don't even remember if there's... I think there was one time we encountered a lady that said that... Okay, so like my first day out, actually, my first day in Arizona, we knocked on this one lady's door, or maybe the second day, and it was around Halloween. Like, Halloween was coming up, and she had like all these Halloween decorations on her door, except there was one that was a little odder than normal. Nobody would actually do this, but there was a Ziploc bag taped to the door, and it had in Sharpie, "Holy Texas Water." Now that's not a normal Halloween decoration, you see, but this guy, or like my mission companion, he knocks on the door, and she comes out, and it's this older lady, and she's like, "I've been waiting for you guys. I've been praying that you would come." I'm like, wow, this sounds awesome. But then she's like, there's been this ghost that's been knocking on my door at 12 every night, and he knocks 3 times, and she gets into the specifics, and she like tried to put cinnamon under the placemat so you didn't, like, outside the door, so you could, and there was no footprints or anything, so obviously it was a ghost that came to haunt her. And I was like, oh great, this is totally spiraled out of control. This do we even do like exorcisms or whatever? So she has us say a prayer for her, and that was about it. She said they never came back, and like that was about a month later, and my mission companion was like, well, that's great that they haven't come back yet. And she's like, don't say yet. Yes, that would give the possibility that the ghost could return. But apparently that wasn't the first time that somebody started banging on her door in the middle of the night. So I don't know. I don't know if it was actually a ghost or if it was just some punk kid like messing with her.
I would hazard to guess. Wait, what if it was both? What if it was a punk kid's ghost?
The same one from years before.
Yeah.
Maybe.
This next question is from Ulti. What was it like missing the start of G2?
A bit of a bummer, I guess. I mean, I wasn't like dying like, oh man, I'm missing out on Bionicle right now. Oh, but I don't know. I think I was fine with it just because, I mean, I bought a set pretty early on. Like, I bought Kopaka in, I believe, January of 2015, something like that. That sounds about right. So I got to see a tiny bit.
Okay, fair enough. All right, next question from Cool Car 161. Thoughts on Galador?
I should probably watch the show. I'm not like I have zero expectations for it. In fact, it's probably more in like the negative expectations range, but it seems like people are memeing it back into existence, so I should be a bit more informed about it.
Yeah, no, I can understand. Let me see. Wadon asks, Envy, if you were stuck in a room with LJ Mesa and VAR, who would you protect, who would you kill, and who would you eat? I feel like two of those options are awfully similar.
Hmm. Uh, I'd protect Masso because he's my longest time buddy. I would kill Jay, and
Thanks.
I would eat Var because he's the one that talked about cannibalism.
Oh, that's just peachy. Thanks, Envy. Alright. There are two more.
Nice Southern cooking.
Alright, let's ask these next two. Ulti asks, Keeney, what's it like being a part of TTV since LJ has come back?
Wait. Come on, dude. Stop skipping questions, bruh.
Listen, some of them are really good, and some of them are like, okay, fine,
Hey,
okay.
MC Lego Boy. I'm the real Dirty Dan. He used
I-
to be Pinhead Larry.
I don't
I'm not
understand.
even going to read it.
I don't understand this question. Fine, I guess since we're asking everything, Sushi Yoda asks, can he buy your kidneys?
Sure, if you let me change your username on the message boards. He was wondering how to do that the other day, but then turned out he didn't actually want a name change, so
I see.
lucked out on doing that.
Gotcha. Alright, well, in that case, Keeney, how's it been since I've been back?
I ain't answering it.
But
I'm
Keeney.
not Keeney. I'm not Keeney. You
Okay,
guys and
fine.
your dumb meme, like the three of you that make that dumb joke.
To be fair, I don't.
No, not. I mean, specifically, probably Wolk, Ulti, and Keeney. Probably the only three that ever make that joke. So now I'm calling them all out.
Oh, snap, hot take, as Hector says. He's introduced me to that. Like, ever since I was on the Lime Joint, I... something
It's
I like
pretty
to
funny to
say.
say.
Yeah. Okay. Bionicle lives, or Bionicle lives, I don't know. Favorite
Bionicle
G1
lives
set...
matter.
Favorite G1 set, and what topic should we expect for the Nest analysis from Jome?
Okay. Favorite G1 set. That one's a bit of a toss-up because I mean, I do like Copacabana, but I'm also pretty fond of Antros. Like I'm currently watching a bid for it on eBay. I'd like to get a hold of that again. But there's just like a lot of sets I really liked as I was growing up that that I really enjoyed having. I'd say a lot of them actually came from probably like the 2008 time. Like I was like really into Halo when I got Leo Fantoka. That Master Chief style helmet. So I don't know. There's like a lot of good sets I like, but I would probably say toss up between like Copacabana and Antros.
Okay, fair enough. I figure that is another question that I will ask real briefly. Do you have a favorite overall Lego set, or is that basically the same?
Overall Lego set.
Yeah.
That might be a little harder. I think I like Kopako Master more than I do like either of those two.
Okay. He is a good
And I
set.
do like my Fire Mech a lot. I
That
do
is
wish I could
also a
have the
good one.
Quake Mech.
So good. Wait, do you have the Quick
No, I'm just saying, but if I did,
Mic?
it'd definitely be my favorite.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay.
Okay, and then next analysis. My next analysis is on a Nika Island assault. I have everything recorded and stuff. It just comes down to fighting time to edit the footage of what I've got.
Okay. Excellent. All right. I feel that that is mostly about everything. We're gonna go ahead and end it. I know I'm skipping some questions, but we're gonna go ahead and wrap up here in just a moment. And I want to end it on
Yeah, it's
this.
probably good to be done.
Yeah. Okay. Ulti asks, "What is your favorite Halo game?"
Oh man, there's so many different ways to like approach this. I really like playing Reach for specifically just SWAT and zombies.
Ow.
But when it comes to like playing Slayer, I really like playing Halo 4 more.
Oh.
Campaign, I was really fond of playing like Halo 3. Halo 2's sucked in the sense that it was just really hard, but it had a good story. Halo 3's campaign was just like outright fun. Halo Reach was pretty good too. Halo 4 not so fond of. Halo 1 is okay. So I don't know. I've got like a whole bunch of different aspects of Halo that I like between different games. But I would probably say Reach in that aspect just because I would mostly play SWAT and zombies all the time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Fair enough. My favorite's Reach, so we should we should 1v1 and me.
Yeah, we'll see eventually.
All right. Well, in that case, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. Envy, thanks for taking the time to be here. I appreciate it. I know you're a busy guy, that's for certain.
Yep, time to go back to fixing my car. So
Gosh.
should be a lovely experience. Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully I'm not spending a ton of money, but
I
at
hope
this rate
not.
I will be.
Yeah, that sucks. Is there anywhere on social media you want people to follow you at?
Just the standard stuff. TTV_Invictus on Twitter. Justin J. Marler on Instagram. You can follow my personal life. That sometimes you get to see Lego stuff happen on there. If I had more Lego followers, I'd be down for making more Lego posts, but as that is not the case, it's mostly my real life stuff. But I'm open to it. That following.
Okay.
Those are the two biggest things.
All right, excellent. In that case, for anyone that's interested, I will have those in the description below, so I highly encourage you to go ahead and check that out. All right, well, Envy, it's been fun. I suppose it's time for us to depart.
Now it's time for so long.
All right, thank you all so very much.
Not just one more song.
Wow. Wow, Envy. All right. Thank you all so very much for listening, be it live or be it the recorded version that should be up later today. I really do appreciate everyone that watches these, and I hope you have had a good time. The Eljay Johnsen Show airs every single Saturday at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. You can find updates and guest announcements every Tuesday over on Twitter at the Eljay Johnsen, and you can additionally go ahead and send your questions in via email at eljayjohnson@gmail.com. Thank you all so very much for listening, and we will see you all again another time. So have a great day.
Bye.